Siskiyou County's monthly Zoom meeting. I think we'll start out by introducing one another. I'll introduce myself and then pass it to someone, and then you pass it. The person that gets that will keep passing it along. So, oh, wait just a minute. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm Giselle, the coordinator of the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County, and Kristen. Kristen, you want to introduce yourself?
All right. Hey, Joey, if you can hear us, you need to mute. We've got a lot of background noise going.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that, Christian.
Sure, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Kristen Norman, and I am Giselle's administrative assistant for the Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County. And I will pass it on to Greg.
Greg Dinger, Mount Shasta West, concerned citizen. I'll pass it along to Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne Ray with the Klamath River Fire Safe Council, and I will pass it on to Ryan Carew.
Yeah, my name is Ryan. I am the Emergency Management Coordinator for Northern Valley Catholic Social Service, and I will pass this on to Kathleen.
Kathleen Shirley. I am in Dunsmuir, and I'm working on the Dunsmuir Fire Mitigation Project through Fire Safe Council, and was with CORE last year.
Pass it to someone.
How about Joey?
Yeah, hi, I'm here. I had to mute myself. I'm Joey Hott with Black Mountain Fire Safe Council in Hornbrook and KRCE. And I will pass it along to, I don't have a list up on, I'm not sure who is all left.
I'll do it for you, Joey. We'll pass it to Joe Bergman.
Hi, Joe Bergman with the American Red Cross. I'm here in Siskiyou County, and I live in Mount Shasta.
And who was that?
Joe Bergman, sorry.
Oh, hi, Joe. Okay, Joe, pass it on to somebody.
Take a look. So, how about Ryan?
Oh, hold on. So I just went, but hold on.
Sorry.
We already do Jen Erickson.
Jen, did you introduce yourself?
Yes, I was just clicking my mute
okay.
video thing. Hi, I'm Jen Erickson. I'm the fire prevention officer here on the Klamath National Forest. And let's see, I'll pass it on to Julie Titus.
Sorry, I'm trying to come on here. Okay, well, at least I got, there we go. Yeah, Julie Titus, and I'm retired Forest Service, been with the Fire Safe Council in many respects, but across the county, helping wherever I can in wildland, community wildland fire protection stuff and planning. So helping where I can.
Pass it on to somebody, Julie.
How about Madeline?
Hi everybody, Quartz Valley and Klamath River resident, and just want to get ideas about how to bootstrap and get people organized and and I can't see the list, so if somebody else could move it on.
Okay. George Jennings.
George Jennings, Wairika Area Fire Safe Council.
Choose somebody, George, to introduce themselves.
Michael Hintz.
Hey, you guys, Mike Henson, Happy Camp. I work with the Happy Camp Fire Safe Council and the Mid-Klamath Watershed Council. Thanks.
Michael, can you choose the list? See the list to choose someone?
I do, and I think if Rachel Smith is there, I'd be honored to pick her out.
Well, thank you, Rachel Smith, Forest Supervisor on the Klamath National Forest. Glad to be here tonight. And I will turn things over to Tuli Potts.
Hey y'all, I'm Tuli Potts. I'm the North Area Representative for the California Sierra Nevada Conservancy, and I'm actually based here in Siskiyou County, but I represent the 5 northern counties that the SNC has jurisdiction over. Good to be here.
Right, and Tuli, pass it on, please.
I see a phone. It's called Galaxy A52 5G.
Who has the Galaxy phone? Gregory Rendiso.
1 second. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gregory Randazzo. I work for Quartz Valley Indian Reservation on their fire department, and I'm just a wildfire mitigation specialist trainee, just getting here and listening in. So thanks for having me.
All right. And next, there's another iPhone here. If you're on your iPhone and you haven't introduced yourself yet, please do so.
Okay, I am Linda Winger, and I'm a resident of Scott Bar. And my husband and I are new to the area. We've been here 1.5 years.
All right.
And we came from the Santa Cruz Mountains, where we had a wildfire there. And then we went through the McKinney fire here last year. And so we're very interested in the Firewise Council.
All right. Gina's autopilot. No. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Marlene Kessel Ludlow. And I'm just here in Mount Shasta, and I like to participate and see what's going on, and, you know, be a part as much as I can, find out what's going on. And thank you all for being a part of all this.
Oh, well, thank you for all you do, Marlene.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay, now let's see. Who have we missed? Have we missed anybody? I'm trying here. I can't see the full list, Gregory. Who?
Oh, Yosef has not introduced
Oh,
himself.
okay, Yosef. would you
Hi,
introduce
everybody. Yeah, sure. Thank you, Giselle. And thank you, Kristen. My name is Yosef Jalil. I'm the California Area Director for CORE, an organization that will be working with the FSC on the CWDG grant. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Ryan Crow.
Oh, he already introduced himself.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I was multitasking, sorry. Did Yvonne introduce? Did you, Yvonne?
Yep.
Okay.
Got everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so.
I think we got everyone.
Okay.
Except for the people who didn't.
All right.
introduce themselves.
Well, then let's move on to our next. Anybody feeling left out? Need to speak up right now? Anybody want to add anything to the agenda before we get started?
Oh, I don't know what's on the agenda. I'm sorry, we didn't see an agenda, but I would love to know where our funding comes from for help in bulldozing and some of the fire breaks that are supposed to be put in around. I believe we received funding in Scott Bar, and I wonder where the funding is and what the plan is for its use and how to find that out.
Okay. As we go down, Linda, we will maybe discuss that. For bulldozing in Scott Bar, I don't know or what you've heard, but let's just get started and we'll talk about what we do have. And then if anybody knows the answer to that question, please feel free to answer it. Anybody know about anything going on in Scott Bar? with bulldozing and fire breaks. Okay.
And funding
And
for it.
funding for it, correct.
Are you saying that there was funding? There was money and you don't know where that money went and it wasn't used? Is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes. So
Who-
this is what I've heard. There's a gentleman that lives over by Etna, and he has a nonprofit. No, let me not go there. He has he coordinates the funds. So the funds were put into his account. He hires people to do the work. And because Scott Barr did receive a grant, and so the grant money went to him. He hires people to do the work, and the work has never been done.
Is that Larry Alexander and Northern California Resource Center? Is that who you're talking about?
You know, I don't know if that's the person. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know anything about that, so I really can't help. But if somebody has some inside information, put it in chat. And if you have any contact info for Linda, would you please put that in chat as well? And see if she can get to the bottom of what's going on and get some help out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be, I mean, Larry Alexander is on our list, our contact list for the, you know, our 25 community level fire safe councils. He's listed on there for like 5 of them, including the Scott Valley and the Scott Barr fire safe council. So that I'm assuming that's who she would need to call in.
George Jennings, do you know anything about that?
I haven't worked there for about 7 years. So we were the sponsor for the fiscal sponsor for the Fire Safe Council, but I have not had any contact for several years. So I don't know anything about the funding or anything about, do you know, does she know? She probably doesn't even know where the funding's coming from, or I'd say check with your CAL FIRE unit and see, and then maybe the forest ranger, and those are 2 of the main sources for funding, and see if they can help you. That's
okay.
Good advice.
Okay.
Good advice, George.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's go on to talk about the one grant that we have, the Community Wildfire Defense Grant that we're working on in cooperation with CORE, Community Organized Relief Effort, and we're working on grants and agreements right now. So when the grants and agreements portion of that grant is complete, then we'll be strategizing and rolling that out. I'm thinking before we can actually get on the ground, it will be somewhere just short of a year. And so there is some funding there for home assessment and defensible space. And we're looking forward to being able to help for 500 homes in Siskiyou County. And we're looking forward to being able to help people throughout Siskiyou County become more fire safe on their properties. We're real excited about it. Any comments?
So how do we suggest homes that might benefit from that grant?
Well, we're going to put information as it rolls out on our website, firesafesiskiyou.com, and you can go there and they can go there. But we're still in the planning stages of how we're going to actually do this, but it's going to be for the most prone to fire and for needy people. So it's going to be for the both of them, underserved. It's going to be for the underserved. And for those that are in a fire dangerous situation, communities, etc. And so there will be an application, and we'll put that application online. And if they qualify, then those are the people that we will treat. Any other comments or or thoughts on that?
Yeah.
No.
How does
Joe?
offer that- Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
One thing you might want to consider as far as the target audience, I guess is a nice way of putting it, or the target demographic, Kristen pointed out, is what we've been doing with our free smoke alarm program. And that is going to senior meals, senior dinners, Meals on Wheels. So we did a senior event in Weed on their Monday senior breakfast at the community center and signed up 24 people for free smoke alarms, 24 households.
That's great.
The other option is you might, when you talk about the target demographic, is setting up at food distribution dates. We've days or locations. We've done it at the Siskiyou Food Assistance Center, the family and resource centers when they do commodity days, things like that. So you definitely have people there that definitely have a need and might be the demographic that you're looking at. So probably through those venues, we probably have signed up and installed probably 80 households of smoke detectors
Oh, great.
in the last 9 months. So just a suggestion.
Very nice. Well, thank you for that suggestion. That's a good one. Julie Titus?
I just wanted to also share that the fact using the countywide CWPP and looking at the different areas in terms of hazard threat of fire is also something that sounds like you guys are doing, which is important for everybody to know, because obviously some places are more susceptible than others in terms of severity of wildfire. And so that's another aspect I would imagine that is being factored right from the plan, which everybody has access to. Look at those maps of all your areas that are in the plan it's on the Fire Safe Council website that people can take a look at that.
Yeah, and those are the areas we will target and the underserved within those areas. And again, we haven't even finished with grants and agreements. And once that's done, Julie is one of our planners. She's put together a really nice grid for trying to figure out our best strategies. And so we'll keep you updated as things begin to progress. Gregory Randazzo.
Hi. Yeah, I really like Joe's idea about going to those, the elderly, breakfasts and stuff like that, because a lot of them don't use internet and things like that. A lot of them don't have access to internet, especially some of the ones that are the most needed for this kind of program. But yeah, so I think that would be your guys' absolute 100% best bet, and having somebody there to walk them through the application process, because it is online, and giving them access to a tablet or something like that so they can fill out the application and do what they need to do.
Absolutely.
I think that's absolute. And whenever you guys want to set something up, I'm more than happy to help around Wairika. We can set something up at the senior center down here. And, I know they do the community lunches there behind the high school every day, I think. So that would be a good place to start. And yeah,
Well,
I'm
thanks
all
for that
for
offer. Thanks, Gregory.
Not a problem, of course.
Any other comments about KNF? Jen Erickson says that they're going to give us an update on the upcoming CWDG Community Wildfire Defense grants during their update. So we won't get too involved here. Anybody else have any more questions?
I just wanted to double check on what Gregory just said. Did you say they do senior lunches behind the high school once a week? Is that what you said?
As far as I know, they do it every day.
Oh,
At least
every
they
day.
used to. Yeah, they used to do it quite often. It was just something they'd go around and pick up all the different seniors that wanted to have lunch, and they'd feed them there. And it was kind of like a little gathering for them. And I'm not 100% sure if they still do that, but it's a good place to check. And
yeah,
I'm sure the city of Wairika probably, I think they were the ones that ran it.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. You said the city of Wairika?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
Great.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, because I remember I'd gone a few times with my grandpa, and it was, I was young and it was a bunch of older people. It was a fun time, and but yeah, there was always quite a few people there, and I bet they would Yeah, those are the
Well,
people I think
old
are
people
most.
are fun. Yes, they are.
They are. They really are.
All
Thank you.
righty.
That's great. Thanks, Gregory.
Anything else? All right, we'll move on to the next one, the Worm Burner Golf Tournament update. Kristen, can you give us a little update on that?
Yes, I finally got 93 thank you letters in the mail. I fell trying to be cool and skateboarding with my son on his new skateboard and like tweaked my wrist on my dominant hand. So it took me like 2 months to write these. We don't write that much anymore. I realize we don't, we type. And so my muscles in my hand were not that strong to write very many thank you cards, and all the handwritten envelopes. Anyway, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, but they are sent out. So that's a relief. All the thank you to all the sponsors, and hopefully they'll sponsor us again next year. And we are just now trying to schedule the kind of celebratory check presentation ceremony with the Rain Rock Casino. That's for anyone who doesn't know. I guess there's some people on here that don't know what we're talking about. The Worm Burner Golf Tournament was our first ever fundraiser that was spearheaded and sponsored by Rain Rock Casino. It was a golf tournament at the Lake Shastina Golf Resort, and it'll be an annual event there every year. And if I'm remembering the number right, it was 36,000 that
Something
they
like that,
was the
yeah.
final 36,000 was the final number after all the expenses that was raised. So we're next week or the week after we're gonna do our grant or check ceremony and put the money in the bank, which will be used for the same kind of stuff that the CWD. We set that intention for the funds before we knew we got the $10 million for CWDG grant, but it's obviously very big need in our county. So yeah, it'll be used for clearing defensible space for the elderly, disabled, and low income residents. So and Michael Hentz, he was there golfing, and we had 148 golfers. It was sold out. It's a great event. Lots of folks from even Shasta County, and our Forest Service, local Forest Service had a team. CAL FIRE had a team, and we had a lot of local fire fighters. A lot of local fire departments were volunteering out there helping at a lot of the holes, and it was a huge success, and it'll be even bigger and better next year. I think that's all the updates that people haven't heard already.
They were awesome to work with. They approached us, and they're just all great people, and they were really concerned about their community and Siskiyou County, and they stepped up to help. So based on the tragedy that one of their employees went through in the mill fire. So yeah.
So all the
Okay.
funds, excuse me, so did it, the funds then for that fundraiser, it went to Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County?
Right.
Correct.
They sponsored it, paid for everything, and all the money raised is going to us for clearing defensible space for
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
So everyone who golfs, tell them next year sign up for the Worm Burner Golf Tournament.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It included dinner and snacks and music. It was good. And games. CAL FIRE, I don't think anybody's here. I was told, Susie said nobody would be here tonight, but the Forest Service is. So you're up, Jen.
I'm going to let Rachel start off for the Klamath.
Rachel?
Hi. So I don't have too much in terms of details, but I just wanted to say hello and just say I'm appreciative of all the work that's been done over the last couple of months. So this has been a season unlike any other season that I've been on the Klamath National Forest. This is my 4th fire season here, and I'm really glad of it. And I know that's in thanks to many of you and all the work that you've done. So thank you for everything that everyone's doing. I also want to share that the Chief of the Forest Service and the Undersecretary visited the National Forest last week, and they committed an additional $25 million to support the Klamath River Basin wildfire crisis landscape.
Oh,
So
wow.
what that means in terms of where the funds will go is still yet to be determined. The focus is around tribal partnerships. So we have a lot of tribal partnerships here on the Klamath National Forest and a lot of our adjoining national forests, and that's going to be my focus in the next couple of weeks. Without putting too fine a point on it, I will just say I'm trying to do my best to make sure that as much of that $25 million lands on the Klamath National Forest as feasible, along with the neighboring areas. But it's, I think, a real win for us, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. So I will turn things over to Jen, who has a couple of updates in terms of possible grant opportunities.
All right.
Thanks, Rachel. Can you guys see me? It looks like my camera's not working.
No, we can't see you, but that's all right.
You can hear me. That's good enough. Okay. Okay, so the next round of community wildfire defense grants has been announced, and the application period opened on July 31st, and it's going to remain open until Halloween, so October 31st. And so just a recap of what we call it, the CWDG for because we like to make things shorter. So it's a grant that's intended to help local at-risk communities and tribes plan for and reduce their risk of wildfire on private lands. So people who could apply for these grants could be nonprofit groups, state, county, and community government agencies, as well as tribal governments. And of course, Fire Safe Councils falls within the nonprofits. So just wanted to make sure everybody is aware of that. I'm going to put a link to a press release that's on our website, the Klamath National Forest website, that has a bunch of information about it. One of the things that I want to highlight for this group is that there's going to be a series of workshops offered, and this is through the Klamath Basin Priority Landscape Group. They saw that this was going to be coming, and they recognized that our communities like to have in-person opportunities to learn about things rather than just webinars. So there are going to be 5 in-person workshops that they're putting on, and there's going to be one in Alturas, one in Cay Falls, one in Wairika, which is going to be August 16th, one in Hoopa, and one in Weaverville. So there's information in that link that I sent you on where and what time. Additionally, there are a couple webinars that are coming up. One is tomorrow, and one is August 15th. Now, those are being put on by the Washington office of the Forest Service, so they'll be a little less customized to us. I think that August 10th one is more specifically aimed towards tribal groups. So anyway, it's exciting that we've all been waiting for this announcement to come out that this next round was going to open up, and it's here. So just want to make sure folks are aware of it. Please share this far and near. And if you have any questions, give me a call. I might not be able to help you directly, but I'll find you an answer if I don't know the answer. So I'll put my cell phone number in here.
Jen, can I ask you a question, like right off the bat?
Like nobody I know.
This is George Jennings.
Go for it.
Are you bringing cookies? Okay, not really. No, you said something about August 10th. Was that Is that the right date?
That's for a webinar that the WO is putting on. The Wairika in-person workshop that I think that people might be more interested in is going to be August 16th.
And you can sign up for that online.
Yeah, I don't even think you necessarily need to sign up. I'll look on that website. But there is more information in this link that I put here.
And it's going to be at the supervisors, the headquarters in Wairika.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I will try to bring cookies.
And
I've made a lot of promises to cookies, about cookies for George, and I've let him down like 3 times in a row now.
Vegan cookies, of course.
You'll come to the meeting.
George, nice hat.
You like that?
Yep.
All right, what time is that webinar? I mean, what time is that in-person meeting on the 16th, Jen?
Let's see. I think that they're going to be 4 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. So trying to get the folks who have other things to do during the day and still be able to accommodate them come in home in the evening.
Yes. Okay.
Jen, I actually did the online webinar today. And Giselle was listening in on that too. And do you want to give a little background that this round in particular, and I believe, as far as I understood it, will be the only round of CWG funding that is prioritizing CWPP applications. Do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Well, they're going to push for CWPPs. They had a lot of applications last time, and projects were mostly funded, only a few CWPPs. But he said that his name's Brad. He said that in light of how many applications there were for CWPPs last time, they're going to make them a priority this time. Not that they won't fund other things as well, but they really want to help people who want CWPPs. And you can't really apply for a project unless it's in your CWPP that's less than 10 years old. So you need one to apply for projects. And a lot of the projects, if you're applying within Siskiyou County, you can use our county-wide CWPP that you can find at firesafesiskiyou.com under the home. I think it's under the home there. It says CWPP, and you can go there and see if your project's in it. And if you can use that CWPP, go for it.
I'm sorry, what is CWPP?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Community wildfire. Oh, wait. Yeah. Protection plan. Community wildfire protection plan. Get CWDG, CWPP.
After a while, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and so thanks for bringing that up, Kristen. I mean, I guess I kind of said it in a more general way, but they are kind of emphasizing that this is a great opportunity for people to apply to develop a CWPP or to renew a CWPP that's more than 10 years old, or implement projects that are identified within a CWPP.
Actually, it's 5 years. Because I asked the question very pointedly, specifically because our countywide CWPP does really need updating, but it literally misses the 5-year cutoff by like a few months. So
so it's 5 years. I'm mistaken. Thank you.
Yeah, it has to be 2018, older than 2018.
Your project has to be in a CWPP that's less than 10 years old. But to apply for one to be updated, your CWPP has to be greater than 5 years old.
And I think you guys said a key point that they keep bringing, and some people kind of miss that. It has to be a named project in your CWPP. It has to be named as a priority in your CWPP. It can't just be in, so that's kind of an important point, I guess. And then also, have you guys worked out any kind of prioritization on your CWPP, Giselle, where you some kind of system for prioritizing? Because a lot of times you ask it what project is, what are your rate in the CWPP And have you guys have you evolved to that yet?
Yes, Julie has started, and we're working with her, a very nice one, a grid to sort that out and decide what our priority projects will be and where they'll be at. And so we are working on that. Yes.
Super, thank you.
It's actually the matrix I developed was more for the CWDG.
Oh, true.
He's talking about PP. So that one was to help with how some suggestions, and it's just a tool to use to help prioritize.
Priority communities,
method
though.
Absolutely could be used for what he's talking about, project
Right.
based on, but you know, basically utilizing the high, moderate, low. Well, we don't go to low, but extreme, high, and moderate fire areas, looking across the county, looking at where the fire severity, where a fire's using your weather and what's happened in these years, and where is your most severe fire threat, and using that, you know, that it for each planning area, George, is where it makes sense. And it hasn't been flushed all the way out, but that's the general sort of strategy that would be looked at for any of this. But that being said, countywide is complicated. You know, it states in the county plan, each individual community has the ability to get together and make the decisions as a community on their priorities, on their projects. It doesn't solidify that, oh, you have to go here, there, wherever in each community. So absolutely, the reason that plan seriously was put together and done the way it was, and so any community could use the template from that plan and make their own and run with it. So this idea, you know, like you're saying about making a plan for Wairika did one, Dunsmuir I helped out leading that one before the county-wide one. Any community, I guess Happy Camp just did theirs. But that format, I have it, anybody could use it. I can help, you know, get that few people that want to do their own community plan, that's there. Yeah.
Right. And my point is that if you don't have a CWPP in your community, you might reference the countywide CWPP and see if there's something in there that might apply. So Julie did do a matrix for identifying high, medium, and otherwise priorities, but also underserved communities. You got to look at that. So go and look. You might find something that's applicable to you and the project you want to.
The general priority, just so it was, you know, as it was, and we're going to realize that plan was written while Campfire was burning. Campfire was 2018, and that plan was going right with that. And so obviously evac routes and roads were listed as one of the number one, and working out from that. And of course, then, you know, your defensible space, which are now there, you got that grant, but the prioritization was based, that was listed right there. Now, that's not a specific project. That's just talking across the county. That should be everybody's high priority. Whether you could use that, interesting. I don't know. I'm just saying it. That's what it said.
Right. All right. Any more questions on that subject? For service, were you done with your report, or you want to keep going?
I have a tiny bit more, but it should go pretty quick. Just wanted to give an update on fire stuff. So as on the fire front, you know, we don't like to say it or acknowledge it, but things have been kind of quiet, and we appreciate that. The largest fire that we've had this year has been 2 acres. And that was up in the
That's
Knolls.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah. So no whammies, keep it coming. This has been great. And so with that, we've got some folks that we've been able to send to help other places that needed some assistance with firefighting. So we've got folks in Canada, Alaska on the Mendocino and the Modoc. We brought some cover engines to fill in behind them. So really most of our folks are on forest, and we're pretty well staffed. Right now we have a Type 1 helicopter here, still here, a Type 3 out at Scott Valley, and an air attack platform. We are discussing fire restrictions, looking at going into fire restrictions potentially in the next week or two. Been preparing for the fair. We will have a presence there. And last but not least, today is Smokey Bear's 79th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Smokey. Yeah. That's
End
great.
of report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Then moving on. Anybody from Shasta Valley RCD here tonight? Or the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association? The Scott River Watershed Council? Mount Shasta Bioregional? Sierra Nevada Conservancy?
No updates. We're reviewing concept proposals and we'll finalize our announcements after full proposals are submitted in the end of October. So,
all right, thanks,
fine.
Julie. Yeah. Siskiyou County OES? Nancy Ogren, Supervisor. Joe Bergman.
Yeah, sorry, multitasking here also. So we installed smoke alarms in 30 homes on the 29th of last month. So that brings our total to about close to approaching 100 over the last 12 months. We're probably going to be backing down on any social events for a while, just because now that we're in fire season, we kind of don't always know when we can rally our troops for something like that. And actually a few of our colleagues have just headed off to Maui for sheltering there, and many were at Guam. So of course we're not shorthanded here, but that's kind of where we are. October is Fire Prevention Month, as I think I'm probably telling everyone who knows that. So we will be trying to do some events. So if you're doing any of the organizations here, if you're doing any special events in October, we're going to try to do some. So if you want to try to sync, please let me know, and we can have some joint activities in order to get people signed up, mainly for free smoke alarm installations. In the past, I had talked about us being at a lot of these public events, like everyone's at the fair right this weekend and such. I told Kristen this earlier. The Red Cross we decided based on resources, we're not going to do many of those public events, but we're going to do the more focused events, like I had mentioned earlier, and those like the senior breakfasts, the Masonic Temple Sunday brunches, the food banks and things like that. In order to sign up people for free smoke alarms and just general education.
Good strategy.
On a personal note, I just know because you have everyone, we all live here in the county, of contacts. I've been really concerned because as I've gone and taken the dogs for walks in the mountains, I've come across many sites where I understand a lot of people go into the mountains for spiritual reasons and to kind of express that spirituality in different ways. I've come across a lot of places where they've been burning incense, and not necessarily indications that they were really conscious about putting it out. So it just, if you have friends of friends, people who do these tours, just put a bug in their ear that please don't, or if they see anyone doing this, please make sure people aren't doing shouldn't be burning incense, lighting any type of fire when they're up in the mountains. And it was just a really concern I ran across just yesterday. So, okay, so that had nothing to do with the Red Cross per se. That's about it for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that update. And we certainly will make it a point to warn people, no fires of any kind. Pacific Power? NRCS, Jim Patterson. Eric with Air Quality.
Good evening. This is Eric Olson with Siskiyou County Air Pollution Control District. I don't have much to report. I'm grateful that we've made it this far this year, and we have not had any serious impacts to our air quality from wildfires. Thank you, Forest Service and all cooperators for keeping it that way. And I trust that there's every possibility that the rest of the season can continue this well. That'd be fantastic. We have 2 full-time staff. We have emergency air monitors here. We have upgrades to our existing network and low-cost sensors. So we intend to deploy more of those and are prepared should the need arise to do emergency smoke monitoring this summer. That's all I have to report.
That's great. Thanks, Eric. Any questions for Eric? Okay. Moving on, then sheriffs. No one's here, I don't believe. CHP. Siskiyou County Natural Resources. Now, if you're wondering why there's these, I always put them out each month so everybody has an opportunity if they want to. And all of these entities have been here at different times, so we don't want to skip anybody. The Wyden Amendment, Stevens funding. Jen, do you guys have an update on what you know about Stevens funding?
I have no updates except that if there is a project that you think might be a candidate for Stevens funding, get with us now and we'll get something. We'll talk about what'll work and what wouldn't, and go from there for when the next round of that opens up.
That's a good suggestion. Fire Safe Council of Siskiyou County had one that we submitted some time ago, a concept, and we just thought it was, you know, it was long gone. It was like 3 years, and then it came back. They said, hey, we want to do that now. So, you know, don't give up on these things. Just keep putting stuff in the funnel and you're bound to get something come out the other end eventually. Local fire safe councils, we'll start with Black Mountain. Joey, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here, Giselle. Yeah, I got a couple things this month. I just first off, I want to say happy birthday to Smokey the Bear as well. And I also want to bring up to the Forest Service, my hat's off to them and my heart's there with them. I know we've been talking a lot about grants and everything, but I just want to bring everybody up to par. I know we don't have any local fires, but we have lost 5 firefighters this fire season, 3 down in Southern Cal, 1 up in Oregon just last week, and a local fire chief, I believe, from Hammond Ranch. So my hats are off to them and to their family and everybody else. I just want to give a shout out to the Forest Service and Cal Fire. I know Cal Fire is not on this week because they're probably all down at the fair, but my hat's off to them and prayers are with them. Also with my Black Mountain, me and my nephew last week have continued to do some work down on A12 on Modoc, which is right off of Apache. I've probably done anywhere from 10 to 15 acres worth of weed eating and approximately about anywhere from 6 to 7 acres of trimming trees and limbing up trees for that whole group down there. So I've approximately done probably about anywhere from 9 to 10 homes, fire safe fuel reductions. I am starting to pick up a couple of them out here in KRCE that want work done. A few of my neighbors want some good amount of brush removal done around their homes. So hopefully this fall I can get onto those when it gets a little bit cooler. Other than that, I believe that's it. So like I said, yeah, I just want to throw my hats off to Forest Service and Cal Fire for their loss this year in the fire season. And I do have my, with that, I do have my flag here at my place at half mast within that cause for them.
Well, thank you, Joey. You do great work. I'm always impressed.
And Joey, I want to put a bug in your ear. You've, I'm sure, heard us talk about starting the Firewise USA communities here and there in these meetings, but yeah, I don't know if you have my number, but you can get it from Giselle, obviously, and I can, leave stuff at her house for you to pick up. You should start whenever you're doing this work in your community. You should be giving out these brochures and talking up, getting people on board with starting a Firewise community out there, because it can really help folks reduce their potentially the reports that we're hearing. Most people are getting reductions in their premium rates, and like even I have a personal story from my father. He lives in up in Shingletown in Shasta County, but he got dropped multiple times and is now on the California Fair Plan, and he started a fire safe council. I'm sorry, started a Firewise community, and even on the California Fair Plan, he still got an 8% reduction on his premium rate. And when you're talking about $9,000 for your premium rate, 8% makes a difference. So
Makes a big difference.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So
And that's one thing that another thing I wanted to bring up. I know CAL FIRE is all over it, and I'm sure maybe a little bit of the Forest Service. And that's why I'm really starting to really try to tackle my community out here in KRCE. One of these days, I know it's kind of hard because we're all in the bunk of the hardcore fire season right now with everybody. But our main concern out here is with our dam removals. Here in the next few seasons, all of Hornbrook and KRCE and northern county of Siskiyou, I mean, it's a big issue with not having, once these dams all get removed, our water issue out here is going to be a massive concern besides a fuel reduction program. And I hope here in the next year or so that CAL FIRE and Forest Service can really focus on how we can protect Northern California and Northern Siskiyou with this water issue, more than just fuel reduction. Because I mean, looking in my community right now, we were basically 100% dry out here. And if we had a massive fire, thank God, like we're all talking about, cross our fingers, we haven't had a big fire out here yet. But when that day comes, our aircraft are not going to have any water sources here in KRCE or Hornbrook to put these things slower at risk to do some serious damage. And I know that we're trying to grab a lot of grants, but I hope we can find some grants to maybe get some like water sources out here or anything that we can come up with in the near future.
Rachel, would you like to address that, please?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joey. And thank you for bringing that up. So CAL FIRE and we have worked really collaboratively over the last couple of years. One of the things that was asked of the federal agencies as well as the state agencies is to identify what the concerns were with fire response. Both agencies are really confident that it will not impact our ability to respond to fires in any way. So you're correct. It's a dipping location that we will not be able to dip out of in the future.
Exactly. We won't have that dipping options that much.
You're right. But we have had a lot of developments in the last couple of years in terms of dipping locations. Both we and the CAL FIRE Siskiyou unit are really confident in our ability to continue to respond at the same rate that we have in the past to fires. But thank you for bringing it up, and I appreciate the chance to just briefly speak to it.
Thanks.
You're
Rachel,
welcome.
for speaking
Hey,
to
Giselle,
it.
can I add something there?
Sure.
The Fire Chiefs Association and South Wairika Fire Chief were able to get some funding, I think, is some of the mitigation money. And they have like portable units that can be brought out for dipping, that you can fill them with trucks and move them to locations. I would suggest that Joey get a hold of the chief, the South Wairika chief, and find out where those units are and what their plans are out in their area, because that's the Fire Chiefs Association that was able to get that funding.
Yeah, I'm well known of those. They used those last year in the McKinney fire. And my issue still is with that, because I used to be a firefighter for the Forest Service and CAL FIRE both back in the day. So I got a lot of fire experience. With that issue, though, with having the Klamath River basically going to be a creek, especially on years that we get droughts. And with Hornbrook, back when we had the Klamathon fire, it burned up 90% of our water supply out here in Hornbrook. And our hydrant systems would really not be able, I know they would be able to bring in water tenders, but our hydrant systems out here are very, very weak to fill those kind of tanks like they had in the McKinney fire, where they had them set up over by Walmart in Yreka. I mean, those would work if you had a good water supply, but that's the thing. We don't really have that good of water supply sources out here to keep those tanks filled. And that's something that I think we all think we need to think about in the near future. They can bring those tanks, but the water sources are going to be very limited.
And I appreciate the chance to speak to that, Joey, because I actually have really great news on that. We actually have 4 Hellowells that we purchased to sit in the county. We've got a lot of good options. So both CAL FIRE, the Siskiyou unit, and that was under Phil Anzo, and then also Daryl Laws and myself on the Klamath National Forest, we were asked to speak to, do we think that this has any impact on our ability to respond effectively to fires? And I think you probably know this. Our answers on those kind of things are legally binding. They could be something that impacts us in the future. Both of us are very confident that we will be able to respond to fires very effectively and that will not be impacted whatsoever by the removal of the dams.
Oh, awesome. That's very, very good to hear, because we do have a lot of people out here that are very concerned with those dam removals.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm going to have
very
to
aware of that and very sympathetic to that. I mean, big changes like this for folks in the North State is significant and tough. But I just wanted to to the degree you have confidence in either the Klamath National Forests assessment, our fire managers who have collectively 200 plus years of experience leading fires in the North State, or the Siskiyou unit of CAL FIRE, both of the 2 units had a great deal of confidence in our ability to respond to fires and no impact. So those
Nice.
Hellowells are really good for us. And we also have a number of other opportunities that we have not used in the past. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Nice. That makes me feel much better then, beyond. I will definitely pass that along with my community as I go out and do my fuel reduction programs.
Thank y'all for your input on that. Okay, next is Butte Valley. Kathy Derby is the president out there, and she couldn't get on. She's trying, but they have real bad service out there. But they have a grant, BRAID 2, and we're digging into that, and hopefully we'll be getting some fuel reduction done around about 80 properties out there. And we're looking forward to continue to help them. We did a BRAID 1, and we also did 3 different grants through the Stevens program all around tenant. We bring that into, so those were all good things. Copco Lake, Dunsmuir, Kristen.
Oh, actually, I am gonna defer to Kathleen because
Kathleen's
she
here.
hasn't
Hi,
gotten to talk,
Kathleen.
and she actually is more the Dunsmuir expert than me.
All right. Sorry, Kathleen. I should have saw that.
So we have been working hard and getting LOAs signed for our wildfire mitigation project. Some great forward progress. Some people who really are stuck on the contracting, and that's the way it is. But I know that Vestra's working. I see them up and down South First Street, and for the most part, the people are excited that we are getting this help.
And who's Vestra, Kathleen?
Vestra would be the CEQA. They're performing CEQA. Right now they were, let's see, in July it was biological. I believe in August it is archaeological. And so everybody who has signed their LOAs will be getting that archaeological, which is a beautiful thing.
Vestra is the contractor hired to complete the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act document, so that we can move forward with fuel mitigation out there. So yeah, and they're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Greater Weed, no one here. Hammond's Ranch, anybody from Hammond's Ranch? Happy Camp, Michael?
Okay, I've just figured out how to unmute myself. Thanks everybody for being here. You know, we've got the Happy Camp Fire Safe Council. The Slater fire is still ongoing as far as its effect on our community, but we've got a crew that's working. We've had chipper days. Kristen participated in the Firewise Youth Day a couple weeks ago. She was also there at this great music event, I think last Friday. So Kristen's doing amazing work out there. So, you know, currently we're actually planning for Prescribed Fire in the fall, and that's 2 different events, and it includes the Karuk Indigenous Women's Fire Training Exchange and the Fire Training Exchange. But we're always doing fuels reduction work, doing our best. And it's, you know, we're all threatened by wildfire, and there's a lot of fuels around our community. So MCWIC and our Fire Safe Council is taking what steps we can to do our best. And thank you all for being here. That's my quick statement.
Well, thank you, Michael, for all the hard work you've done. And yes, we appreciate Kristen. So
Well, I was
happy
just,
she's
I was
on
actually
board.
just gonna say that Michael doesn't give himself enough credit. What he does to coordinate all these different entities, you know, I was having a conversation with him at the youth Firewise event, and he's like, I'm so sorry, hold on, I gotta go over and talk to this guy that just pulled up at the park because I can't get a hold of him otherwise. This is how things are done here in Happy Camp. You gotta track people down, you know, boots on the ground. I'm like, I get it. So yeah, Michael's just amazing with how he just really is a mover and a shaker and connecting all the dots out in Happy Camp, and really doing amazing work for his community out there. It was really fun. That's my favorite event to do of the entire years, Michael's Youth Firewise event out there. It's really special.
I
And
agree.
we had wildfire ready raccoon on the scene this year, thanks to it was actually a forest service. We couldn't get any of the camp counselors that run the community resource centers summer camp. We thought we would get one of these spunky teenagers willing to wear a Ready Raccoon mascot costume, but no, but this awesome Forest Service, one of their crew was a willing victim, and he got in there and came, and we read the story, the Wildfire Ready Raccoon story, and it was really, really awesome event. So thank you, Michael, for doing such great stuff.
Thank you all. All right, and we're going to move on to Horse Creek. Juniper Flat. Margie couldn't be here. She had to go to the vets, and she said if she could get back in time, she would. But they're doing a lot of really good things in Juniper Flat. They're now moving into a different phase of roadside fuel reduction, and they're working on getting more CEQA done so they can do that. And Margie's a go-getter. She's really got a good relationship with a lot of the people out there that are kind of estranged and hard to work with. And she does an awesome job. She knows how to do that. So I appreciate her for that. Klamath River. Yvonne?
Hello. Yes, let's see, what have we been doing since the last meeting? I have been in contact with Andy Zink at the Oak Knoll Work Center, as well as the fire prevention specialists of Ta and Pierce. And they did a site visit to where the Klamath River Fire Safe Council has water tanks for fire suppression and defending the road here on Beaver Creek Road. And we also talked about, so that was a success. They came and got familiar with what's available. And then also we introduced a young local volunteer for the Fire Safe Council to the Oak Knoll Work Center, and he got his red card, and so he's on board. That was a success. And then we have distributed the the brochures from NFPA to the backpacks that will be given away on August 16th in the area. And that is just spreading education up and down the river to families to be aware of what they can do for defensible space. Those are really beautiful brochures that are break things down very simply. I know you guys are probably all familiar with that. And it's a partnership with a nonprofit, Free the Need here in Klamath River. I continue to attend the long-term recovery meetings for the McKinney Fire. And as people are thinking about rebuilding, and some other people who didn't lose their homes totally, but are involved with the long-term recovery, I've been announcing that you could get fire prevention officers from the Klamath National Forest to come and take a look at your property to see what recommendations they may have for defensible space or for improving the defensibilities of structures and properties that did not burn in the McKinney Fire. And so I'm spreading the word about that in those meetings. So that's what I've been up to.
Wow, busy lady. Thank you for everything you're
Sure.
doing. Yeah.
Oh,
And I am
I'll put a plug in for you, Yvonne, that if anyone, they just launched their tool. Yvonne connected me with the McKinney Long-Term Fire Recovery Council that meets, and they just launched a tool borrowing library, or what do you call it? But it's not
That's
a library.
tool. Yeah, it's a tool lending library.
Oh, that's what you do call it, the lending library. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if anyone ever has any even used tools, even if they're like, kind of old and defunct, they are bringing defunct things back to life and refurbishing. So if anyone ever has any tools to donate to the lending library, these are meant for folks who are trying to rebuild or improve their properties or clear defensible space or whatnot. So that's a really great place to donate stuff to if anyone has, and maybe you can be a little more specific about what you guys are accepting.
Yes, it's my understanding that they are accepting just about anything that could be repaired or is gently used or new. And things, the very first tool that got lent out was a pole saw to do some limbing. And that was just the other day. So it's a very new lending library, but it's great that the long-term recovery group set that up.
That's a great idea.
And thank you, Kristen. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that I am very interested in connecting with the Forest Service about their current projects that are just being developed. I have talked with, like I said, Andy Zink about the fuels reductions that are planned throughout the National Forest area, but obviously concentrating on this area in the Klamath River specifically for the Fire Safe Council. And I just plan on getting a hold of, I heard that Patty Grantham is on board for doing work in that project. And so I plan on connecting with her to see what's in the county CWPP and what we can dovetail, just get rolling with some of these projects that probably won't get work done on the ground for 2 years, but it takes the early legwork to make sure you get what you want in that project in the beginning. So that's a area that I'm going to concentrate on in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's true. You have to start early. And then, when it gets here, you'll be surprised it went so fast and you can get your work done. So Lake Shastina, they're not here, but they do have funding to do a vegetation treatment plan. It was a CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act document that we were pursuing. CAL FIRE approached and said, we think a vegetation treatment plan is better for a variety of reasons. And so we're going that way, and we're going to, instead of getting 800 acres, we'll be studying 6,000 acres and for about the same price, the way that it comes together. few caveats, but anyway, they're working on that. And when that's done, then they're going to do 180 acres of actual fuel reduction. So it's all moving forward, and we're happy to see it. Lower Scott River.
Well, no one's here as a representative of that Fire Safe Council. I know, Linda, you said you're a resident out there, but I will just put in a little debrief about, I was just out there in Etna doing an outreach booth at the Trails End Music Festival, which was absolutely phenomenal. It's the first year they've ever put it on, and it was so well done. You would never have thought you were in Etna. It was like really, they knocked it out of the park, really awesome. And so y'all should go next year. It's really an incredible event, really fun. But I was totally blown away. I've never done an event out there, but man, were people psyched. I mean, not too many events do people like beeline to your, outreach when you're sitting amongst all the cool, vendors that are selling all the cool stuff, me with all my brochures. People don't usually come, but people were like, hey, I heard what's this about Firewise communities? Like, hey, what's the information? I need some of this stuff. So people were, talking. After I talked to one person, they were going and talking to their friends and their neighbors and telling them to come over and get the information. So it was literally spreading like wildfire. And so it's really exciting. People are really, really seem inspired and motivated to start coming together with their neighbors and making good things happen out there in their communities. So
That's
that was
awesome.
gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah. Any input on that, on those areas? Next is McLeod. McLeod, they don't come very often, but they're doing awesome things. They're one of the earliest fire safe councils in Siskiyou County, and they do a lot of really good fuel reduction out there. Mount Shasta area, we've got a couple of grants going, and we're working through fuel reduction and defensible space on several properties, about 100 on Old Stage, and clearing up that roadway. And then Orleans Soames Bar, anybody have anything to say about that? Michael, do you have any intel on them?
Well, MICWIC also helps to administer the Orleans Soames Bar Fire Safe Council, and we've got crews working full time. I think they've got 6 people there. We're doing residential space protection, and I don't want to go too far, but there's the Western Klamath Restoration Partnership. So we've got significant work we're doing with the Six Rivers National Forest. So it's ongoing, and I'm really proud of all the work that's being done. But again, my thing is, it's just so small scale in the end. It's such hard work on a big landscape, and we all know that's the truth. So we're doing what we can, and we've got good funding for years to come through a lot of great agreements and grants and partners. So we will keep doing what we can.
Yeah, you're an inspiration out there. They're some of the earliest fire safe councils too, and some of the most prolific. I really appreciate all those people. Quartz Valley, can you say anything about them, Michael, or are they part of the MICWIC group, or they're independent? Probably.
No, Quartz Valley is in the Scott River Valley, and we are not, of course, everyone's a partner, right? Everyone's a collaborator.
Right.
But we're not in any way responsible for the Quartz Valley tribe and what they're doing. So I can't take credit for anything. And I hope they're doing a bunch out there.
Hey,
Salmon
Giselle.
River.
Well, we had Madeline.
Go ahead, Gregory
Giselle.
wants to.
Oh, sorry.
I
I actually work for the tribe out there on their fire department, and we're doing a lot. We've purchased quite a few different properties out there, and we're cleaning them up, getting the defensible space built up, getting some really nice, good work done, good fuel breaks and things like that. We're trying to expand, do more. I'm trying to get them more involved with everything and things like that. And, so we're getting there.
Good.
Hopefully we can expand from just doing tribal property to hopefully working out. I think that would be the goal, is to work out from the reservation and just start doing all of the different, homes and different places that need it in there, and hopefully set up some workshops within the reservation at the gym there, something like that, and just get some demographics and, general idea of what is needed out there.
All
Because
right, if we can help, let us know.
yeah, definitely, most definitely. And I'm hoping we can get our grant writer to go out and attend that workshop for the CWDG grant. So
Yes, yes.
great.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You
yeah,
definitely
that's it.
should, Gregory. That would be really, yeah, there's a whole, specified, tribal, all these
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
parameters in the CWDG. So yeah, you definitely should encourage
Yeah,
them.
it focuses on tribes a lot, so yes.
Yeah.
And then Gregory, so Madeline Lavaggi, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. She said she, as a resident out there, if I caught that correctly in the notes. So Madeline, if you have anything to say, any input on behalf as an advocate of your community, we're always all ears.
Just that, yeah, what you said about, can you hear me first of all?
Yes.
Okay, great. Greg, yeah, about that working out. Yeah, it'd be great if we could collaborate together. But if there was, if there was a way to start here and you guys are starting there and we work, towards each other. But the thing is, there's just not really much of a Quartz Valley Fire Safe Council. And I don't know that and I'm not quite sure how to organize one. And I understand maybe Larry Alexander is part of that, but it seems kind of diluted. And I'm just not sure where to go in order to be able to get these grants. And yeah.
Well, reach out, because that's his territory, Larry Alexander, Northern California Resource Center. Reach out. And if they can't help, then we will try to help. We'll try to help you get a fire safe council started. Anyway,
Yeah.
if you want.
And I'm, as an employee for the Quartz Valley Reservation, I'm all hands and helping, so I just talk to our leadership and see what we can get going, and maybe post some flyers up and just try and get a gathering or something going, and just, like I said, get an idea of what's needed and who's interested, so.
Excellent, excellent.
I will also, Gregory, I believe I have your email, but maybe shoot it in the chat if you have that ability. I can get it from Giselle probably too, but you could also talk to the Ford Family Foundation. Crystal, I'm forgetting her last name, if anyone else remembers it, pipe in, because what Kathleen Shirley, who's on here, and Linda Shaben, who are the leads on the Dunsmuir, it's actually now the Dunsmuir Castella Fire Safe Council. They got a micro grant from the Ford Family Foundation to do kind of a pilot trial run on doing community funding barbecues to bring people together. In the Dunsmuir context, we're doing it for, they call them parties with a purpose. That's kind of like what Ford Family Foundation really wants to fund, is, something that's going to bring people out of the woodwork that normally wouldn't come to the table by offering free food. That's always a good strategy, right? So for the in the Dunsmuir area, we're doing like work parties, doing it in the context of trying to get these Firewise USA communities started. And so getting people to come out to work in their neighborhood, to clear defensible space and along their streets, evacuation routes, and then having a barbecue, all the food and drinks sponsored by the Ford Family Foundation for after the work parties. So I think that would probably be a really great thing for you guys to look into out there, that that Ford Family Foundation definitely wants to fund stuff like that. So
good deal. Yeah.
I just put her name and her email there for you into the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
Let's see.
Awesome.
Was that directly to Gregory? I'm not seeing it in the group chat.
yeah,
Okay,
right. She put it directly to Gregory.
okay, great. Thank you.
Can you put it in the group chat so that others can see it as well? Please?
Sure, I thought I did. I will put it in the group. Yeah.
Thanks, Julie. I appreciate it.
Uh,
Okay, Salmon River, 4th of July, I believe. Kristen went down there.
Yep. Yeah, I guess our last meeting was right after that, so I did a little report out. I didn't actually get to talk to them about, like, nuts and bolts of what they're doing and their projects out there. But we did have a lot of fun getting one of their the Salmon River Restoration Council's staff was our willing victim to get in the wildfire ready raccoon costume out there, and we were in the parade, which was really fun, and just tried to get, start getting the information out to folks about the Firewise USA communities, and just the general information about having your go bag packed. And most of the people out there already know that whole song and dance because they've been affected by so many fires. But yeah, it was a great little gathering in the beautiful community out there. So it was fun to be part of it. And
I know they're active and they're writing grants and doing things. So they're one of our founding fire safe councils too. And one of the original coordinators for the Fire Safe Council was from there, Jim Villaponte. So anyway, great group of people. Syad Valley, Wairika, George.
Did you save the best for last? I'm just kidding.
Always. Well, you just had to be the bottom of the alphabet. I don't know.
I
why.
know. Hey, so I wanted to talk about, and I may have talked at the last meeting, but we were, Cal RCD Council, one of the partners in the Wairika Area Fire Safe Council. We were funded by CAL FIRE for the Alton Road project. We just were informed. And that's 40 acres, 25 homes of defensible space, 367 acres of mastication. And it's basically the area across from Walmart and around Highway 3 into the housing area, kind of the south end of Wairika. That hasn't really had a lot of treatment yet. And it borders the Greenhorn Park. So we'll do a little bit of overlap in the Greenhorn Park. So we're pretty excited about that for that CAL FIRE wildfire mitigation grant. A couple other things, Cal RCD is working on. We have a Stevens funded grant, the Miller Mountain Fuels Project. That's 300 acres of treatment and 1,500 acres of planting over on the backside by Grass Lake. And let's see what else we have. We just started a project just below downslope from the ski park and extending the Road 31 fuel break. That was the first part of that was done by the Shasta Trinity National Forest, and that's a RAC grant. And I just want to take an opportunity now to talk about. There's quite a bit of funding in the RAC, but they're still working to fill their committees. So if you can check with Jen Erickson, and if you have some ideas for folks to fill those committees so that they can get that funding on the ground. The great thing about the RAC grant, the Siskiyou RAC, is that it can be used on public and private land on the same project. So you can really do, all lands approach to fuels projects. So the Road 31 fuel break. And then wanted to talk a little bit about our YCC crew. Cal was able to get nonprofit funding and partner with the Klamath National Forest Goose Nest Ranger District. And we hired 4 youth from the Butte Valley High School. And they've been doing a lot of different projects, all the way from range to invasive weed mapping, some invasive removal, some pretty cool things. They've done a large variety of projects. And so we appreciate the Klamath National Forest and allowing us to help keep that going. One of our partners was California Deer Association, And those kids are gonna be at the Siskiyou County Fair working at the weed booth on Friday. And they're very excited because they're gonna get to meet our forest supervisor and so we're looking forward to that. Great, and those kids are learning a lot about Forest Service jobs and with their interaction with the different departments. And so hopefully it's a great recruiting tool. We can keep going for the Klamath National Forest. I also want to mention that the city of Wairika received a $1 million grant from OES for for hiring and 5-year program for the community resilience officer. So they're pretty excited about that. And then that person will be additionally be doing grant writing and probably working off their hazard mitigation plan, which they have named projects in the hazard mitigation plan. And the city of Wairika is also funded by CAL FIRE wildfire grant program for, I think it was $1.5 million or $1 million of work to do work within the city of Wairika. And part of that was looking at a curtain burner and being able to have a pickup system for slash. So there's a lot going on in and around Wairika. You know, we had all the fires last year coming toward Wairika. Now they're everywhere else, so we're happy for that. But we're still working to be prepared and protect the largest community in Siskiyou County. Anyway, that's Orcal and Wairika Fire Safe Council report.
Great report, George. Appreciate you and all that you do and what you're doing with the YCCs. That's a great program. So we have them here on the Shasta T as well, and they've just been so productive and useful and awesome kids. It's open for forum. Is there something y'all want to talk about that we didn't talk about already? All right. Well,
I would just like to ask, I mean, this is sort of off topic, but I'd like to know if somehow we can find out if there's any way we could do anything to influence, well, probably not influence, but something with the insurance companies. I mean, here we're doing all this work to stop the fires, and yet the insurance companies are dropping us right and left. So do you think there's somebody we can approach or discuss the situation with and what we can do?
There's a nonprofit group called United Policy Holders, who is a lobbyist for the people to the government to help reduce insurance, fraud, keep the insurance companies insuring the people and reducing the price. They're working on it all the time. I think they've been here before. We can actually ask them to come back and speak if you'd like. They've got some really good thoughts and they do advocate for us. So yeah, United Policy Holders, you can look them up online. And they've got some really good tools and ideas about what to do. And then the other thing is establishing a FireWise community will help you to get the attention of insurance companies, and they're obligated by law to give you a reduction up to 25% or to take you back if you've been dropped. So FireWise communities and then United Policy Holders, a lobbying group, are all working on that.
Well, from what I understand, one of their big complaints is, you know, that we want reductions, and so, and they can't raise us more than a certain amount, and so they're just pulling out, you know, and it seems like they shouldn't even be able to do that legally, just pull out of California, but I mean.
So I can give you a little bit of background on that, Marlene. I actually happened to be at the site where I'm starting a farm school. I was there when the contractor who's hired by the California Fair Plan came to do his inspection, and he's been an insurance agent in Siskiyou County for like longer than I've been alive. And so I really said, oh, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. And so what he told me is that it's a really like swinging pendulum with the insurance market in California, because it's the highest risk, but it's also the most lucrative. And so what happens is, every 6 months or so, the insurance companies, panic. Oh, it's too high risk. We're pulling out. We're dropping these people in these zip codes. We're not writing new policies, all that song and dance that you're talking about. And they leave. And then 6 months later, they say, oh, it's so lucrative, we can't stay out. And they come back. And so combining that information with what, what is his name? The Firewise guy, down at Cal Fire in Reading, Shane Vargas. And he said is basically what he told us is that, the California Department of Insurance, so what you're asking is like, what can we do? The United Policyholders had a big hand in, pushing this new I don't actually know if it was legislative action, but there was a legal mandate that the insurance department, California, so this is a state mandate essentially, just put down in January that is now requiring all insurance companies operating in California to take Firewise USA designation into account when they calculate your wildfire risk score, which is what determines your premium rates and whether or not you get dropped. So it's a really huge step, kind of basically unprecedented step for, regulatory action with insurance companies. So that's really a big deal and a step in the right direction, obviously. So what Cal Fire, Shane Vargas at Cal Fire has told us is that really your best bet is that you can get one of these Firewise USA communities started, take care of your property like you need to, just and then so then once you get that Firewise USA designation, what Shane Vargas said to do, which lines up perfectly with what this contractor for the California Fair Plan told me, is that every 3 to 6 months you get on the phone and you call every single insurance company, and even if they supposedly weren't operating in California, you call up every insurance company and say, I have this Firewise USA designation, here's the documentation, will you insure me? And what they're saying is, within a year you'll get off the California Fair Plan, or reinsured, or better premium rate, or with
so far I'm insured, but it's like I live in fear. I have Allstate, the good hands people, haha. But it's like every year I'm terrorized. Last year we cut down $12,000 worth of trees just to make them happy. So, I can't even tell you. We call them the insurance Nazis.
All the fuel reduction that was done out there, they still are giving you a bad time, because there was a bunch done.
Last year they went around saying, oh, well, there's needles on the roof. And I said, well, the wind blows, there's needles, we brushed it off. We moved plants off the deck. Then we cut down all the trees, and they were still, well, the pump house is too close to the house. I said, it's 60 feet away. They said, oh, we're sure it's less than 30 feet. I said, it's 60 feet. Finally, they went and, said, okay, we'll give you insurance. How nice of them. But, but every year we go through this. It's very stressful.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
And you're not the
So-
only one. We're hearing that same story across the land.
which is why we're really trying to inspire people to action and get going with these Firewise USA designations, or not designations, just so that's so I would go to firewise.org is the website if you are able to do that. And on there, it outlines everything, all the steps. And I can also email you the really great question and answer document that the Department of Insurance put out with.
Good. Okay, that would be great.
So if you can either drop your email in the chat, I can grab it, or I'll get it from Giselle. I'll put that on my to-do list here. But you just need to get 7 other residents in your general area on board to start a Firewise community with you. And it's an online application. And yeah, then once it can take a couple months, CAL FIRE is in charge of reviewing the applications, and then they come out and do a community wildfire risk assessment and identify some goals, and then once you get that certification, you call up your existing insurance company and say, I have this new designation or certification, and you need, please recalculate my wildfire risk score. And now, because of the January mandate, they have to recalculate your wildfire risk score, and that should result in a lowered premium rate. And what the reports we're getting are people are getting from 10 to 25% reductions on their premium rate. And like I mentioned earlier, even on the California Fair Plan, my dad got an 8% reduction.
I don't even care about a reduction. I just want to stay with them and not have to go on the federal thing, it's.
Right, which that Firewise designation will help you from keep you from getting dropped as well.
Yeah.
Kristen and I got some things I can add to that if you got a second.
Well, Gregory had his hand up. I wanted to see if he still had something to say.
Oh, okay. It kind of answered my question. I was just thinking, instead of spending our time trying to start a fire safe council out in Quartz Valley, if we focus focus on starting a fire wise community, all within, Quartz Valley, then hopefully working out towards Scott Valley.
Might be a great idea. Yeah.
Kind of my thoughts with that. She kind of answered that with the 7 neighbors and things like that. So
well, that's the minimum. That's the minimum is 8 property owners, but the maximum is 2,500. So it's a huge range. And it doesn't matter how small or how big your properties are. You could have a 5,000 acre ranch. Yeah, there's no maximum or minimums on.
Does it have to be just like people next door, or does it anywhere in Mount Shasta, or what?
Yep, there's very few parameters. You don't have to share property boundaries. It's in the general vicinity. I mean, the fire department, the local fire department might have some input of where they want your boundaries to be. What we've heard from like Trinity County, who's been doing Firewise communities for 20 years, they told us in their experience the kind of sweet spot is about 20 homeowners. It's big enough to have critical mass to keep things going, but it's not too big and it's not unmanageable. And really there's obviously overlap, but there's fire safe councils and Firewise communities kind of have different roles and functions, in a lot of respects. So I think for like grant writing purposes, you'd still want a fire safe council, because that fire safe councils also generally serve a bigger area. And within the Quartz Valley or Scott Valley Fire Safe Council, you might have 15 Firewise communities, right? Depending, if you have all these little 8 house pockets or 10 to 15 house pockets, they really do say and even like Shane Vargas at CAL FIRE say it's really most effective when you are in close proximity to the other people in your Firewise community, because it just, you talk to each other in passing, you get together, your properties influence each other's more, in terms of, if one house's defensible space isn't cleared, it has an effect on the neighbors, probability of surviving a fire, right?
Well, yeah, unfortunately with 3-acre properties, you don't know that many people in the.
Well, we did do that fuel reduction project in your neighborhood. So all of those people are actually already kind of started, and we have their contact info. So we could do a barbecue with using
That's
Crystal's
a good
money,
idea.
you know, we,
Get
they,
Ford Family Foundation
yeah,
mini grant, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could do something out there. Joey, what did you have to say?
Yeah, I wanted to fill in a little bit of stuff that I know from being a past firefighter and back when we tried to do the Black Mountain Fire Department out here. With the ISO ratings, like Christian was talking about with that Firewise. Also with the insurance company, a good thing to push to them back when we were going to start the Black Mountain Fire Department, when we had all our board out here. A thing that is really strong to push in our communities as well with our insurance companies is let them know if you have a fire station within the 5-mile radius of your homes and your communities, and also a fire hydrant system that is up to par and up to ratings within that 5-mile radius. Like, for instance, out here in KRCE, we have no fire hydrants. So
Right.
that puts us at an ISO rating at the highest they can go, which is a 10. Montague District is at a 6 because they have a 5-mile radius of a fire station and a fire system, hydrant system that can flow water to your house. For instance, if it did catch on fire during a wildland fire. And the insurance companies look at that very strongly on how they rate your structures. Besides doing the fuel reduction projects, they look at how fast a fire department can get water flow to your house in a bad scenario kind of thing. And back when, like I was saying, back when we tried to start Black Mountain Fire Safe, that was our biggest reason why we wanted to get a Black Mountain Fire Department out here, was because of everybody out here in KRCE literally did get theirs dropped because we did not have that fire station within the 5-mile radius.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they have several
And they
things
look at that very strongly.
ISO is rated on, and that's all true.
Yeah,
Well,
well, we have the firehouse, but unfortunately the fire hydrant is maybe 1.25 miles at the most, but it's at the bottom of the hill and we're at the top of the
Yeah,
hill.
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know,
That's a good thing then, as long as it's within the 5-mile radius. Your insurance companies, if they don't look at that, remind them that you do have a fire station and a hydrant system within the 5-mile radius of the ISO ratings, and they have to follow that.
Okay. I'll give
Yeah,
it a
Joey's
try.
right. You really do have to be the squeaky wheel and like really hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
You do,
Because
because
like
there are these things that you're supposed to.
Montague Fire District actually has the lowest rating. When with Jason Bella as the fire chief, they had theirs down all the way down to like at least a 4 in the rating, ISO rating, from a 1 to a 10. 10 is your worst and 1 is your best. Last I heard, there's nobody in the county that actually is anywhere near close to a 1 besides Montague. So you got to remind your insurance companies that have enough to remind them that you have a hydrant system and a fire station within your structure within the 5-mile radius. They have to benefit that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marlene.
No, I just said thank you. You
Oh.
know. So maybe next time if there's somebody, I guess, that could come on
Yeah,
and give some more information.
United policy holders, we'll see what they can do. So,
The other thing I was gonna say, Marlene, especially because you have had the community scale fires, fuel reduction, is they're supposed to take that into account in the when they calculate your wildfire risk score as well, is any community level or, you know, landscape level.
we did all the properties in that subdivision, not all that would let us, we did in that subdivision. Yeah.
So they're supposed to take that into account too, but like Joey's saying, like they won't if you don't make them and tell them.
Yeah,
'cause
you have to
and in
remind
their
them that
defense,
you
they might
have
not
that.
know, right? They might not know that was done. So you need to tell them and be, very.
Insurance
That's the whole reason why we're going to build the Black Mountain Fire Station out here, was because of that one issue out here of not having a fire station and a fire hydrant system for all the community homeowners that we have out here. And so
Alrighty.
they look at that very strongly.
Well, guys, we're losing participants, so I'm thinking people are getting getting ready to
It's
go
dinner
have dinner or
time.
something.
I was, hey Giselle, I just want to add one thing for Marlene is because it's a great discussion firewise stuff. Awesome. But somebody, and I think it was you, I was in the kitchen for a minute, but it is important to be affiliated with the Fire Safe Council or at least dialogue that they know that you're in a plan. Right now, your plan is just here to the county-wide one, but it's important to have that for projects and money and for that whole emphasis of the collaboration with the interagency group. It's super important. So just.
Oh, well, I always come to whenever I can, unless I fall asleep.
Yeah, but I meant when you talk to the insurance, so they know you're already.
Oh, yeah.
In a plan, you're in the county plan. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's a good point. I will mention that. Thank you.
All right, George is going. All right, see you next week. Oh, okay. All right, well, I have here August 9th, but it's September 13th will be our next meeting. Be on the lookout for that. And before we close, is there anything anybody wants to say or bring up again?
Thank you for being so patient.
Oh, well, no problem, Marlene. Marlene was a great help. She was the one that kind of got everybody, not everybody, but she was.
I tried.
She pushed to get people on board. She did a really good job, as she did. So
I just want to remind folks to come see us at the fair for the next 4 days. We'll be there.
I'll be there tomorrow, Jen.
Yep.
I'll be there tomorrow with the family. Giselle, I'll stop in and say hi.
All right. And then Kristen will be there the rest of the week. So
sounds good, Kristen.
Thank you, everybody.
See you
All
there.
right, night.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, you want to grab the chat?
Yeah, I'm doing that now. I always